Hey everyone. So today I'm chatting with you about trust during times of change. And you're all very aware that things are changing in the workplace now, daily. We used to be able to plan ahead of time and make changes slowly, and um, things weren't so rushed, but that doesn't happen anymore. Decisions are made quickly. And so, what that does to organizations is that it creates a different culture of what's actually happening. And it's important for leaders to understand what's going on with your teams. And so, if you are a leader and you've got change that actually has to happen, but if you haven't built trust or psychological safety with your teams, your leaders and your teams, then those messages might fall on deaf ears. And so it's really about understanding what you've done in the past and how you can continue to build trust. So trust does become decayed during times of change, because if you're a leader that is continually coming down with this change, this mandate, that mandate, your teams are exhausted. They have what's called change fatigue. And so what happens is that sometimes they don't actually understand what their why is, why this decision is being made. Perhaps your communication efforts have been lacking, because if you haven't told your team the change and why, then they make up stories in their head and they create gossip and they all create stories, in between themselves. The water cooler conversations, even if there's no water cooler. But it happens because that's part of the human condition, is that people want to feel connected to something. So as leaders, here are some suggestions to build that trust again. Number one, start with communication. Start with consistent communication. So maybe you have regular team meetings and you start your team meetings with perhaps what's actually happening, what you can share information, because sometimes there's things you don't even know. And so, but sharing with them that you don't know, but then also let them know what's happening, why these changes are being made. Maybe it's to reduce the budget. Maybe it's because funding hasn't come through. Whatever it might be, the more that you let them know, then they can at least understand. And I would also suggest at this time, when you're communicating with your teams, ask for feedback. Maybe there's some new effort that needs to move forward, and asking them for their feedback. Maybe they have some creative solution that you hadn't thought of. And so when you do that, you're actually building trust and you're allowing your teams to feel that psychological safety, that they can bring those topics to you. And also, this is key for all leaders, whether you're a senior leader or you're mid-level manager leader or you're just a supervisor. And I don't even want to say just a supervisor. I would say all the time, it's actually feeling your own confidence inside of yourself. How is your message coming across? Are you sheepish? Like, oh, we have to do this change and I don't really want to. You know, just that body language really relays, I would say, a lack of confidence. So it's really understanding what's really happening, know your stuff, and present it well with that confidence inside. And if somebody has an argument or someone says, we can't do that, perhaps it's something that you say, you're right. Let's talk about it. Let's have another conversation, or let's dig deeper into it. Or if you have some suggestions, I want to hear them, as opposed to just cutting them off. So those are just some suggestions of working with your leaders and your teams during change, because change is going to happen. And the more that your team can pivot in a way that's healthy, and here's the other key, is really being a champion for human-centered leadership skills, to remember your people. Yes, you've got buildings. Yes, you've got service items that have to happen. Yes, you're building widgets or whatever it might be, but come back to that place of that human-centered space, and also about well-being, making sure that your teams are taking care of themselves. And that's a big effort. And so it might be just simple suggestions of, starting meetings with, a centering exercise, or Maybe it's even asking their feedback. How can we support your well-being? Taking those initiatives. So, anyways, there's lots of suggestions here because change is going to continue to happen. And the more that you and your team are aligned, those changes will happen quicker with less disruption, and get you to that place of success. So if you need any help with that, let me know. I'd love to help you. So that's today's message, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.